And here we go.
Digital.
Yeah, that's the quarantine edition coming to you live. But when you hear it, it won't play. Doesn't matter.
Wait till the explosion finishes.
Yeah, that's true. I go by the name of Small Eyes with a Z, and you already know that. Who else do we have in the building with us?
Ashley C. Baby.
And who else do we have in the building?
Jackie Prescott.
Yeah. And who else?
And Tristan McClain, as it says.
Yeah, but this is for the audience that's going to be listening in, which is our podcast audience. So they need to know who you are.
We're just getting our feet wet, dipping our toes in the sauce, man.
Oh, here we go.
Toe sauce.
Here we go, right here.
I told you I ain't got time for that, but nigga, today I got time, cuz.
Yeah, the soundboard's live and direct. I know y'all can hear it. I know you can feel it. We are...
America want to see us live, not work.
We bring in the really deal Holyfields. And so we're going to just jump into it because we have a pretty dope guest with us today. The team from QuarantineCon, the good homie Scooter and his homie Trevon, I hope I'm saying that correctly, who initiated a organized conference, essentially I would say a trade school, a virtual trade school in less than 3 days of skill building, community building, using this platform called Hoplin. And it's super fire, so we can't wait to talk to them. And he's also an OG DGT alum. He was on the show like one of our first 20 guests or so. So we'd love to check in with Scooter and see what he's doing. Before we get into that, though, we're going to get to going with our WTFs. This is the warm-up, and it goes on.
Lights, please. Turn off the lights. For now, everything just seems so right.
You gotta do the Bandcamp bounce if you want to. Shout out to T-Pain and motherfucking Lil Jon, bro. That shit was epic. That shit was a movie. Did y'all see that?
I did. I saw parts of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but yeah.
A movie. Like, go to your YouTubes, guys, if you haven't seen it. First of all, I do want to, even though this isn't on the agenda, I just think it's cool to shout out something that really shows how pervasive and important our culture is and how we always find a way to be the lightning rod. So this versus, I guess I'm going to say company that Swiss and Timberland built out of something organic that started out of something organic they did years ago, him and Just Blaze, has now turned into a cultural movement. Everybody's now doing these battles. It's like being translated in all different kinds of parts of the world. But it still always comes back to, it's like our culture, man. It's black and brown hip hop music culture that is moving this forward and causing people to come up with new ways to create, man. So I just wanted to shout that out and get y'all thoughts on that real quick. This is a sidebar, so we'll just toss it up real quick.
Thoughts on the versus culture?
Yeah, it's like
us being the. Yeah, I think I see like maturity that's happening. You know, we've been influential for a long time, and I think over the past couple decades, our integration into like mainstream culture and more like even corporate culture, you know, was like somewhat of a new thing in like the late 90s and the early 2000s. And I think now we're starting to find an organic way for these things to really exist in the same space. So it's cool to see that we still have that influence and to see it mature. Wait, Amon, I can't hear you.
Talking, Amon?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Come on, man.
I was muted. I forgot. I was muted. Yeah, that's cool. It's all right. They'll get it. The people will get it. They'll figure it out. So we'll get into this quick topic, and then they're gonna call in. They should call in probably next minutes.
I think it's cool because I'm an introvert anyway, but I still think it's cool that people find ways to invite you to places, and you still gotta find excuses not to go.
Okay, yeah. You mean to digital places?
Yes, digital places.
How can you use an excuse for digital places? We got Trevon in here. I know Scooter's going to be coming in here soon. Shout out to the QuarantineCon team. We doing big things, big tunes. I just wanted to
That's
say
crazy.
that.
It's hard to. I think that it's extremely hard to organize an event like in real life, like physically. So to do this and to get everybody like in one place
Mm-hmm.
and allow them to, or to allow them to really like to do this in 2 days or 3 days?
3 days, I believe. Now, yeah, they're gonna give us the science about how they managed to make all that happen, man. But yeah, like we just want to shout out and really give. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Do they have a PR?
They have, man. They're plugged. So you'll see like they're plugged. One of the co-founders is a venture capitalist. Like they're plugged.
That's probably a really part of it too, because like PRs can reach out to the people that would essentially. I mean, it just looks more professional than like me or you being like, oh yeah, yo, jump in, like, oh.
Facts. Big
facts. America want to see us live, not work.
America want to see us live, man. That's the truest and the realest thing. So while we wait for them to come in, I want to mention, this is something that's just like a current event topic, so we'll throw it out there and then maybe get their thoughts on it. And this is only because we did an episode really trying to get ahead of the COVID-19 situation and what was going down, the pandemic, on our pandemic episode, which is episode 3. Go back and check that out, because we preemptively kind of we're talking. What's up, good brother Trevon, man? We just chopping it up. How you living, man?
What's up, bro? What's up? I think I'm in. I just joined a second ago and then it kicked me out. So I think we're good now.
Zoom be on some other stuff, man. We won't mince words talking about their shenanigans, because that's a whole different kind of conversation. Are you lying down on the ground, Tristan? Yeah, you are. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. What up?
What did you do?
Scoops, Mr. Scooters.
What's poppin'?
Shooters got shooters, man. Is that a thing? Is that a hashtag?
Not at all.
He's got like digital shooters. Like
not at all. It's funny. I actually made a mixtape in like 8th grade with a buddy, and I couldn't rap for anything, and so I would do the ad libs at the beginning, and I would say, "Scooter Taylor, I'm your neighbor," which is like the most private school line.
I mean, you can make it work. I feel like there's it's very Chance the Rapper-ish. I feel like I feel like you can make that work. It's like a sunshiny quote. I'm your neighbor, Scooter Taylor.
Literally just
hey, it's catchy though. It's catchy.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. You put it on a t-shirt, you can get some money. So thank y'all for joining us. This is the good brothers, the team from QuarantineCon. If you're a DGT OG alum, meaning you've been with us since like our early days, since our 2015, 2014 days. Yeah, I'm gonna pull the stunt card out because we've been doing this for a long ass time. Then you will remember Scooter from his early grind, and that's a great episode just to go back and check his journey and how he got to where he's at now.
That was a fun one. I remember doing that one, and it was like right before I think I went to go do Look Live, Y Combinator.
Yeah,
actually, yeah, that was cool. I was like fresh off an internship.
You get to say we knew you win, so it's cool to watch the journey, man.
All we do is win. T-Pain style, man. Shout out. I don't know who won that battle. We won't go into that.
Yeah,
it was fantastic though. But we're getting into the conversation. Oh, Trevon got bounced out. I got him back in there.
There he is.
He's back in here. We'll get him back in.
All right, let's see what's going on.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it's Zoom, man. Like all we want to do is zoom, man.
Wow.
No, I get it. I'm here.
That was bad. They're having all kinds of situations. They released a patch, so this one we're on should be somewhat secure. That's why you got to use a password now. We can have a different conversation on the impact of these type of companies and how they are able to take advantage of the current, pandemic, and they're guapping up. That's a whole different convo.
For sure.
For sure. For sure. But I want to get into the conversation of. We'll get into our main topic. We were going to talk about like the kind of Big Brother situation that just came out about how Google is using the things that they already been acquiring. So if you use Google Maps, they tell you upfront, we capturing your data. We capture all your analytics and data points from wherever you go and whatever you do. Now they're sending out that information to government and states so that they can aggregate that information to see if people are really doing this social distancing thing that we should be doing. And so the only thing I correlate that to is like in our episode 3, we had where we covered the pandemic when it was just starting, which is like kind of like the end of February, kind of catching where this was going. We talked about how like, oh, it seemed like another planet that we could never be like how China is, where they have in the surveillance state and how their information is used carte blanche. It's like, well, guess what, guys? We're living in it right now. So how's that feel? And what do we think about that? Open it up.
So you want to talk about the Google thing specifically, right?
Let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Anybody? Any takers? Any?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword, man. These things are there's pros and there's cons. I think that the intention behind it, or at least the intention that they're showing for the public, is that this is a service that can help governments make and elected officials make good choices about what to do around COVID-19. But I think that the red flag that pops up is that, of course, people are going to obviously think about privacy, number one, in which they kind of built in a way in their PR to say, hey, we're sharing this information, but we're not sharing, and you don't know who the individuals are, right? And I think that there's something, instinctually where we're kind of like, is that really the case? Like, this is a slippery slope, and so that's what I'm at least getting from what you're saying from the conversation, just around like, is this cool or is it not cool?
We don't support none of this shit right here.
You're not rocking with it, huh?
At all.
Yeah.
Y'all know how I am, anyways. But
yeah. What'd you say?
I look at it like, first of all, what type of things does it leave us open to, hack wise? Even down to, how our iPhones, they track our every move. If you go into a specific part of your phone, it shows you every place that you've been probably in the last couple of years or since you've owned your phone, unless you take those off. I went to YouTube, figured out how to take it off. But I feel like it leaves you open to so much more. I feel like in the wrong hands, that can be extremely dangerous. And then we also look at how we just found out TikTok, boom, it's owned by them. And they've been accessing certain things. Then you also look at, what else will they do with this information, and how close does it puts us, I feel like it puts us in the same boat as China as far as their government is concerned, how they control and they watch everything. I feel like there's certain things that should stay private. And I also feel like this is something that it's non-negotiable for me. I don't see the point. I just feel like it puts us in a dangerous place.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, one of the, things that is just what I mentioned earlier about how Zoom, we're using these resources, and artists and creatives, like, we kind of have no choice right now. Everybody's using Zoom. It's kind of like the go-to platform. There's other alternatives, which we have access to in the Digipack, which we're giving this out now, that not just to our subscribers, but it's like a list of a lot of resources, including QuarantineCon, which they're going to talk about a little bit, how they came to form, like Voltron, and what they're doing and their movement and all the things that they've done, and really just to talk about the energy that QuarantineCon was, because it was a movement, it was a vibe. But prior to that, I just want to mention how we got to take advantage of these resources. We don't know that. I don't know about Hopland, the platform they're using, and what their end user agreement is, but I'm sure they're scraping data from that, because companies got to eat who are offering these free services. Zoom, that's how they're eating off of this. Like, even prior to the security breaches, which is nuts. And just anybody listening, this is a protect your digitalia motherfucking hot take. Don't do like secure business shit on Zoom right now or places like this. If hackers have the ability to scrape and pull up public access to these tools and can grab the audio recordings, like, you should find more secure resources and tools, and they're out there. They exist. Like Slack is one that's end to end, and there's a lot of resources that will provide to you in the Digipack. So definitely check that out. But I just want to throw out there that, we have all these different tools. There are some things we're going to have to give in order to be able to utilize them.
That's for free.
Yeah, especially for free 99.
Pay for it, then you have a different expectation. But if you get free stuff, you can expect your data's getting sold for something. Yeah. You're tracking, they want to see where you're clicking, they need to sell your ads.
Yeah, and it's just important for us to remind people about that, because we get so used to the freemium models, especially people of our generation, that we forget, like, people that just don't read the terms and conditions or whatever, they just go ahead and hit agree, or they hit agree on cookies, and you don't always know what you're trading off. So, just taking that time.
Bars. You hear that? You hear that, Scooter? You hear that bomb drop? You hear that?
Holy shit, that's great.
Yeah, man. You can connect your audio direct, man. Yeah, we got.
I told you I ain't got time for that, but nigga, today I got time, cuz.
You got time, man. So we got time today to talk to these wonderful brothers, the good brother Trevon, the good brother Scooter. Again, if you are
What's up?
What Scooter, go ahead and go check out archives because we got over 100+ episodes in the tank because we've been doing this since 2014 and we're beats at it. We got to tap ourselves on the back. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, the consistency.
We're doing it for a long time, and we're just glad to provide a resource for the people. So go back and check his backstory. But I want to talk about what was the urgency, what made you all decide, and what was that first conversation where you're like, we need to create this QuarantineCon conference, and how the fuck are we going to do that?
I'll flip it to
yourself as well while you do.
Yeah, I guess we'll introduce ourselves and then let Trevon kind of start that story. Again, my name is Scooter Taylor. I'm so grateful to be on the podcast today. Back for a second time. I don't know if people come back for 3, 4, 5 times, because if so,
3P,
okay.
3P, 4P, 5P.
3P are kind of the okay. So I'm like, all right, cool. But no, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. Went to school in Atlanta. A techie through and through. Used to be a YouTuber in high school and middle school, and doing like YouTube videos on technology, learning about apps and different programs from my Mac. Went to school and became pretty entrepreneurial. Worked at different startups. Our first venture that me and Trevon actually worked on was in college, which is actually pretty key to the story. We actually tried to break a world record, and we helped 3,000 people get access to clean water, and we failed miserably at our first project in some respects. And so that opened the doors to tech internships and helped launch my first company with some investors and a co-founder back in 2016, which was great. And recently actually transitioned out of that company at the top of this year. So I opened up the year kind of going, okay, what's next? And we found it pretty quickly, but I'll let Trevon go.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's Scoot. That's Scoot. So I'm Trevon Hill. As Scoot said, we've known each other for some years now. I think, we've been saying like 7. I think we're actually closer to 8 now that I think about it. But yeah, so came to Atlanta from Houston. So I went to Houston for high school, was doing a lot of traveling before that. I'll have to come on and do my backstory for another episode later. But went to Morehouse where I met Scoot. Actually studied psychology, so I wasn't really on the entrepreneurial wave yet, or at least I didn't think so. But I picked up like graphic design, videography, photography in high school. So I brought that into kind of my undergraduate experience. But I studied psychology, went in heavy into research, and just a part of the core curriculum. Obviously, you have to like take on a lot of technical skills and synthesizing. But what I learned quickly is that I could like convert those and go into the world of venture and bring like a whole new perspective to that. And just, be extremely innovative naturally, just because that's what I'm doing in my core curriculum. So then I just, again, also just kind of a techie. So I, started bridging kind of those gaps that I started seeing like within like communities of color within technology. And of course, obviously there's a big economic equity gap there too. So that just became my focus in every venture that I did. This was before like social impact was cool, impact investing, before those buzzwords existed. This was just a focus of mine. So as Scoot said, like the first thing we focused on was, a little project we had called Water Wars. Tried to break the world record, failed miserably, realized that there's a whole bunch of colored lines, yellow tape. We were young, but had really big ideas. Stayed friends, continued working on things. And so, yeah, like while Scoot was kind of doing his stuff, I continued doing my thing too, like full-time entrepreneurship. So working with founders, business professionals, local government leaders, investors on different projects and products and campaigns kind of focused on the triple bottom line, right? So looking at business models that are not just looking at funding, which is really big, and making sure we have some revenue flowing, but also looking at like the social impact, looking at environmental impact, looking at communities, specifically communities of color, and how to keep those a part of the conversation. And so, yeah, so now, the culmination of all of our ideas and who both of our identities coming back together, just, the fruition is QuarantineCon. So to give a little background on like how it happened. So again,
give us the sauce.
Like,
give us the sauce.
We're not just, we're not just kind of business partners. I mean, like we're genuinely friends too. So how this happened is, I'm based in, outside of this quarantining, I'm based in Northern California. He's based in Southern. And so I just kind of hit him on a text on like, it was on a couple days before, but I hit him like, Yeah, I hit him a couple days before, like, yo, I got invited to this digital conference that was going to be physical, but it's now digital. Like, this is an interesting idea. Like, you should pull up. Like, it's free. You know, I sent him the link. He's like, cool. So now it's Tuesday, and, you know, I'm about to head in, about to log in. I hit him again, like, yo, are you going to be able to make it? He's like, yeah, I'll see if I can pull up. Within the first 30 minutes after I entered, I was like, this is live. Like, this is one of the coolest things that I've been to. So I'm like blowing him up at this point. I'm like, yo, I don't know what you're doing. You need to jump on though. So he's like, all right, man, I got it. So he finally jumps on. And again, within minutes, he's hitting me back like, what is this, bro? Like, this is amazing.
We actually have the text that we talked about on our Instagram. We actually took some
from both of our perspectives. Yeah. So we have that text, and you can see it literally where he's just like, yo, this is amazing. Like, what is this networking feature? Like, I just met, you know, like 3 people doing X, Y, and Z, social impact. Like, you know, we got to throw one this week. And he says it, and I'm like, say less, let's do it, right? Like, and we didn't know any, I'm talking like we are an hour into using the program, and we had already decided we're throwing them this week. That was what we decided.
Lightning fast, man. Let me just pause. Let's pause that for a second. Just to understand, man, how quick the inspiration lightning bolt comes. You know what I mean? How quick. Just because, I mean, one thing I've been reading about in a lot of these industries, especially a lot of these venture capitalist firms, are getting into the mantra of this adaptive vitality, this adaptive mentality of how they're looking for in the current and future job markets people who have a strong trait for that. Like, so you have to be someone that's change agile, like automatic. And so you all not only being able to channel that, I think also because of the generation you all come from, like the YouTube generation. You say you started your first business venture on YouTube. So coming from that and knowing that the technologies are changing so rapidly, to be able to, like, on the drop of a dime, not only have the idea, but be able to execute that is very powerful. And also something that these companies are looking for. They're looking for the sauce. And that's the reason why I wanted to highlight what you all are doing, because a lot of these companies, there's a lot of people doing these conferences, the digital conferences, but not anybody who's able to galvanize community and culture as quickly as you all did. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, what was the groundwork it took to start getting that ball rolling, to get people to be like, yo, I know shit is crazy right now, but can you all come and join us for this particular thing we're trying to put together?
For sure. I mean, you know, like he said, that first day it was like 3:00 and it was like, all right, cool, let's do this conference. And then later that night we linked back up just on like a FaceTime audio, and it was like, yo, you know, how's that program? Like, let's go first find that. And then once we figured out we could like buy the program for $99 a month, like I instantly just cash out them like 50 and was like, all right, cool, I'm in, let's go. You know, and so, you know, I think there's a couple lessons in there, right, about just, you know, being ready for the opportunity in that sense, because I think there's many days where I probably didn't have the 50 and we wouldn't be on this podcast. But I think, you know, we started in a Google Doc, and again, like through our experiences, it's made us more confident, right? So one thing we've been saying is, sure, it took us 4 days to kind of go from idea to execution on this thing, but that's because we have been working the past 7 years, right? And so, you know, you kind of equate it to like a Peyton Manning or, you know, a Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, where it's like they've been in the gym shooting free throws and shooting that 3-point shot and shooting that jumper for weeks, months, years. So now when it's, you know, time for the game winner, it comes and it feels second nature, right? When everything aligns, right? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in. And I think we've been in experiences where like, oh man, this startup, it's going to be amazing. We're Y Combinator backed, blah, blah, blah. And then we're like, you know, I'm sitting in his house, like damn near in tears, like, yeah, this is just not working. Like, you know, like I know that, like, you know, we're smarter, like we're talented, like, but like this just doesn't feel like it's gonna work, right? Or vice versa. He's been a part of things where he's like, yo, I know I just got here, but like I gotta bounce because this is just not the environment. So I think we've been in practice for the last 7 years of like, how do we act on our ideas and push through the fear, right? Like, because you're definitely gonna get scared as hell, especially when you tell people, right? And like, you know, I think he hates me because I'm quick to tell people, right? We'll be planning and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna text like 7 people. He's like, no.
Let's go. It's not ready.
I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and put it on Twitter right now. You know, like I think I tweeted
digital shooters.
So I tweeted about it. I tweeted about it. I said, hey, I just left this conference and I want to throw in this week. Like, and then it got several like retweets and it was like popping on Twitter and it's like 30 retweets. And I was like, hey man, can I post this on my Instagram, right? Because I knew when I did that, then it's gonna like even become more real, right? But I think that's like that's the pressure that, you know, like we want to put on ourselves, because it's gonna like force us to act. So in those days and those nights where you know, those days and those nights where like, you know, Wednesday night or Thursday night where we're pulling all-nighters, it's like, all right, we got to push through, you know. And there was definitely time where we were planning and it was like, are we even going to do this? Like, I mean, we knew our synergy. And so we started planning in a Google Doc the first night. But then, you know, I think we invited like someone else to kind of come in and help us plan. And then like things kind of started to change, right? The speaker lineup looked a little bit different. The thesis started to shift. And it was, to your point, it wasn't really the culture, which is hard to explain, right? It's hard to explain really what you mean by the culture, especially when you're of it and you live it and you breathe it. And also there's just so many nuances in that culture as well, right? And so what does that even mean? And so there was a moment where it was like, oh, do we even have this? You know, are we even gonna do it? And I think we woke up Thursday morning. I think Thursday. We woke up Thursday morning going, okay, scrap everything we just said Wednesday night, go back to the original plan and like, let's really bring the culture on. Because for us, we saw it as a platform to really highlight Black creatives. It was like, yo, like we're all sitting at home. There's some dope people that we know. I just met 3 people from like Paris, London, Oakland, and networked with them. Like there are people around the country that need to know each other, right? Who look like them and know that they're like beasts in what they do. So yeah, that was,
man, that's amazing, man. Yeah, thank you guys for just sharing the whole story of like the preparation. I just read through the Instagram post where you guys shared the text, and I think the fearlessness in that moment of just being like not second guessing it and going with it first, and then figuring it out later. That's something.
But again, that comes with the years of. It's like if you guys were like,
right.
If someone was like, yeah, we have a crazy idea for a podcast, right? You guys were probably not flinched twice about the crazy idea and like how to go get speakers and like how to go reach out to Mark Cuban or whoever the hell you want to go reach out to. Yeah. Like, oh, we do this. We have the years of practice. And so for us, it was like, we have the years of, you know, digital marketing, like hard skills of like, you know, just putting together organization systems, like operations, what roles need to happen, the nuances between an idea, right? It's different. Like when you have an idea, that's one thing, but to be able to like compartmentalize, and Trevon does it really well of going, okay, to get here, we're going to need to do boom, 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 in this order, in this time frame, at this kind of quality to really make the final result. Like to do that so quickly is you know, something that just takes time. I think.
Absolutely.
Muscle. It's a muscle. It's building that muscle, man.
Sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to, just based on our time, because these quarantine episodes are hit it and quit it. You know what I mean?
Hey man, we can jump out the Zoom and come back, man. Like, let me know. What's up?
We can get it out the bando. We're getting it out the Zoom bando for sure.
Let's go.
You know what it is. But I wanted to get a quick take on. I want to give people a snapshot just for a moment of as soon as I saw it, I was in alignment. I understood exactly what wavelength y'all on, and then to actually go and experience it the day that y'all dropped it. Being in the room where people were anticipating the speaker, you had your homie DJ, the brother.
Oh, Nate, Don't Love.
Yeah,
Don't Love.
Love, DJ Love going in almost on pre or DJ Nights, because it was like the day before the DJ Nights thing, right?
Yeah, so that actually all happened.
Yeah,
that actually all happened like that morning. So like literally 2 a.m. we're putting the finishing touches on it. Yeah. And Jason Jeter hits us and he's like, yo, I'm at the club. I'm at the club D Nice. And I'm thinking like he's out at the club, and I'm like, son, social distancing. Like, why are you out of your house right now? And so I didn't even know what D Nice was, and so I pull up the Instagram, and I looked at Trevon and was like, hey man, like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a DJ? Now Trevon at this point is like, yo man, it's 2 a.m. This is the night before.
Wow,
3,000 people. Like, you know, we just did a test run. He's like, if you can get this in place by noon, like, let me know. And I woke up at like 7 a.m. Called Nate. Luckily he was up. And was like, I got this wacky idea. Set your laptop up, get your DJ stuff. Like, let's do it. And he was in. And what's crazy though is like Nate's a venture capitalist. Like, you know, Loaf is a venture capitalist at University of Texas at Austin. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just named like, you know, 30 under 30 Black venture capitalist. But like, I remember when he bought his DJ board. You know, I remember when he bought his DJ board, he was like, I want to learn how to DJ. And so, you know, I think again, just creating platforms to put your friends on in all the different aspects.
Bars, bars. So the experience, just to give the listener and the viewer, you're in the room, it's all types of people in the chat talking about like, I'm from Atlanta, I'm from New Orleans, I'm from this, I'm from that. Then they have, like they mentioned, the key feature of Hopland, which is the networking, like the kind of chat roulette style networking, where you get a minute or was it 2 minutes? I can't remember.
We did 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
3
3
minutes.
minutes. You get 3 minutes, and I hopped in the room, had a cool conversation with a young lady. She's from LA. It was people from all over, and it's like cultivating a space where you get to network with somebody you may not know, but you may actually gain some kind of really cool conversation to start, and hopefully an actual resource. And so it just blew me away. And the speakers and everyone a part of it was nuts. I was watching the numbers; they were at 1,000 or more, 2,000 people all at once. And again, in a 4-day event, man, like they doing Twitch numbers, bro. Like, and they not video gamers. And these are just people bringing together like-minded folks, man. No, I just really got to pick it up because to see it in action was beautiful. So I want to get your top win or your biggest takeaway, your favorite takeaway from QuarantineCon, whether it's a speaker or a guest feature that you would recommend to our audience to go check out, because you have all the coverage of all the different speakers archived, so you all can go and actually check out the content. And then what was your, like, I'm gonna say fail, but biggest like learn from it so far?
Man,
that's a heavy one.
Learn.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one. I'll do one. I'm gonna remix the question a little bit. So the biggest win was kind of what we've been talking about a little bit throughout this whole conversation, is that we planned a conference, but we built a community, and we did it digitally. So the reason why that was a big win for us is because, as Scoot said, we had tried a lot of different things before, and they just didn't land for whatever reason. So for us, the most important part was to make sure that this conference happened. We were like, we're going to make sure that this is the coolest. It doesn't matter if 5 people show up. This is going to be the highest quality, coolest conference. We're going to do it for us. Like, we went through every emotion on that night he was talking about. We wake up in the morning, we're fresh. Nope, we're doing it our way. We're going to do it. When we wake up Sunday and we get through the end of Sunday and we realize that we had done something bigger than we could have ever imagined, that was the win. The win was, wow, here we are being able to provide a space when so many people are hopeless, they feel restricted, they feel like this is a time where, they're going to have to make pivots that are not for the better, that they don't know, they're going to have to be reactionary, and they're not going to be able to kind of be forward thinking anymore. We gave them a space to kind of like change their whole paradigm of this entire time that they're now being at home. So that was a huge win for us. And it's kind of even hard right now, even like getting hyped up thinking about that moment, because I remember that moment so clearly Sunday night, being like, yo, like looking at the DMs and having people say like, listen, like I was super vulnerable and I really stepped out and I met some people. And as a result, like I feel so much better about like this time. I'm inspired. Like, thank you so much. That was another part. It was so confusing. We were thanking everyone else for showing up because they had no idea what to expect, but they showed up. They're thanking us because they're like, you all like did something that we could have never even imagined was possible right now. And that's just provide a space and inspire others, give us an opportunity to connect. So that was a huge win. Yes, I can't even think of like the learning point. I'll let Scoot handle the learning point.
No, I think, still learning. I think one of the things that is exciting is I think just going back to even just like our history is like we learned that like the day after is like even more important day than the day of the event, right? So the day of the event is obviously exciting and like everyone's there, but like the day after is like, okay, where do we go from here, right? People want what's next. How are we going to move? What's the next thing we're going to do? How do we organize and like capitalize on what's going on the energy that we have? And so, we've done 4 events, 3 more events since the first one, actually. So we instantly planned a wealth building talk where we just said 2 things. We said, number 1, we have like 5,000 emails here. So, we're more than just a conference at this point. We have a community of people, right? And so how do we actually now go talk to this community, right? And we got to go talk to them more dynamically than a conference. Right? We can hold panels, we can hold workshops, we can hold, all types of different things, fireside chats. So we held a wealth building panel like right after, maybe like 2 or 3 days later. Yep. And then we did that Saturday. So this is like the same week and the same stretch of like doing the first conference.
Back to back to back.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we got to do one more. And it was a virtual gym. And so this was cool for me. And I think this is something that, like, to your point of what's the biggest learning, is just like how I mean, just how expansive this idea can get, right? It's like it's bigger than a conference, where we gave 14 trainers, mainly our friends and some friends adjacent, like who we learned about. We gave them their own live stream. And we said, okay, you can sell tickets to your live stream at $5 a pop. Everyone has, at max 500 tickets to sell. And every hour we want you to teach a new class. And so we have people teaching boxing in their kitchen, or beginner's yoga, advanced yoga, cardio. We have people teaching their mom. But what's cool is 4 hours of work, 4 hours of classes, and, before fees and stuff, like some of our highest trainers almost gross $200. Now, granted, on our end, we freaking gave them a day and a half to promote this. So now we're like, okay, starting tomorrow, how do we go back to them and say, okay, now you have 7 days to go tell people to come work out with you on Saturday, and it's only $5, right? So I think, that is I think the thing for us is how do we build something that's bigger than ourselves, right? Like when we did the water thing, we learned quickly that it was bigger than us. It wasn't about breaking a world record, right? It was real people who didn't have access to clean water. And so now I think we're seeing that it's again bigger than us. It's real people who are anxiety filled, who feel kind of lost, who are wanting some kind of connection and to learn, just literally learn, how do I monetize? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? Things that we might take for granted. And we're like, oh, here's the plan. Right. And it's okay, now let's give people a platform to go learn this stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you feel any pressure? Do you guys feel any pressure on creating a bigger event, or what's the end game for this? What do you feel like is the biggest goal for you guys?
Yeah, no, I think I'll let him chime in as well. I mean, I think we both, probably more me than him, but I'm always let's go big, right? I mean, in college, again, we were let's break a world record. 12,000 people, 300,000 water balloons. Let's break the Guinness Book World Record. And I was a sophomore. I was 19. And so I had many people tell me yeah, just do a smaller one, or come on, let's just do 2 small ones and then build up to that. And I was very stubborn and no, that's not what we're doing, right? We're breaking the world record. And I think there's something to that where I'm I think I understand, or I feel people want to really help you on your big ideas more than they sure, the small idea is cool, but go for the fence. Now I'm learning that you can get a home run one base at a time now. You don't have to try to get it all in one. So that's probably the wisdom. But yeah, I mean, even last night, so this is the thing about it, right? To your point, we had 4,000 people the first one. And then you come back and you're yeah, we're going to do something on wealth building, right? And, the first time, I think we had 1,000 people in 17 hours, and seeing that kind of energy and just seeing the email go off every 5 seconds. And then this one was still a lot of people though, right? Right under 900 people on a Thursday night coming to live, watch some people talk about finance. And then you think about the one last night where, we had a few hundred people in there, and it's, you're nervous. Again, you're nervous and you do feel some pressure, but those are all self put on. It's those are just false. It's vanity metrics, Instagram likes, right? And so just, even on the team meeting we had earlier today, I was telling the team, hey, how do we measure success, right? It's the people that hit us up that are yo, I just made a connection with someone and we just did our first event together. I just met someone from your thing and we just made money together. Yo, I just, you let me train my mom. That was so amazing. You know what I'm saying? Or even just seeing other people throw conferences, right? We just listened to Lecrae, Lil Wayne's former business manager, Jewel Burke Solomon, and a lot of other people, right? Literally holding their own kind of mini conference right now.
Yeah.
And they're literally in there going yo, because the quarantine guys were, they did the work. So, yeah, sometimes feel pressure, but I have to check myself on that.
What advice would you give other people trying to do the same thing or something similar? And how do you pick the people that you're working with? Because I know that you can't work with everybody, of course, but how do you, what's your criteria? What do you guys look for?
Man.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. I mean, the team has grown a lot for sure in the short time. And then, well, I'll finish your last question. And I'll give it to him on that because you asked where does it go? I think for us, again, it's a community. And so, the first question I asked my sister does venture capital, and so she's actually at home quarantining with me, and she's financial wizard. And so the first thing I asked her in the Slack was this is literally next day after. And this is also a few hours after I just quit all my other consulting projects. Cause I'm this is what I want to work on. And so going all the way in but I'm also just like, hey, so, you know, I asked her, I said, hey, like, how much money in the bank do we need to have before we can start making angel investments in people, right? And she's like, you know, probably like $1 million. And I'm like, okay, cool. Can you track out what it looks like for us to make $1 million, right? And like keep $1 million in the bank, right? Like, so I think those that's what we're
big talk
on and headed to like go do that. But I'll flip to Trevon about like how we're growing the team.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to, I guess, hit on there's a lot of deep concepts we're talking on, but I'm gonna try to run through them. So where are we going from here? So to me, I think where we're going is it's exactly where we started. So you know, thinking that the vehicle is going to be a conference, but you know, technically, like it could and could not be. I mean, like the idea of conferencing, we've already hacked that. Like we're not doing conferences anymore. We're just bringing people together. We did a virtual gym. Like we're shaking up even what fireside chats look like with doing like workshops now within that. And so we're not necessarily like bound to one concept of how we bring people together. Yeah. You know, our main thesis, which are like our we believe statements, which are now everywhere, which is just literally what me and him were thinking of a couple nights, you know, before the event. But one of the big ones, which is the one that we kind of carry now, is just like, we believe good people should meet good people. So that's something that, you know, where do we go from here? Well, we go and continue finding the spaces where that reigns true, and that we can continue making sure that that reigns true. So I think something, again, Scoot and I were just at this other event, Betted on Black. Ryan Wilson, shout out to Ryan Wilson from The Gathering Spot. He said something where he was like, you know, he's like, we're building The Gathering Spot. And I felt very similar to how we were building QuarantineCon. He's like, we're building Gathering Spot. And he was like, yeah, it's not like, no one's excluded, but we are specifically building something for a certain type of person, specifically our people, right? So to me, what we're building and what we're going to continue to build is spaces for our people. No one's excluded. Everyone is invited. But, you know, just like his example, he's talking about a country club. He's like, those country clubs, like, first of all, they're very exclusive. But like, once you get...
Ooh. Uh-oh. He was getting bagged too.
I think what he was about to say though was essentially like, oh, is he there? No.
He's back.
Okay, cool. We lost you there.
Yeah, we lost you. You were in the zone too, man.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. No, I was just saying that, like, you know, we're gonna make sure that we build. We're gonna continue building whatever it is. Oh, okay, yeah. So I don't know where it cut out, but basically, again, what Ryan was talking about is like, you know, how we are gonna make sure that we're gonna be building spaces that are for our people and for our community. Right? We're not going to necessarily exclude communities. We're not going to say that this is only for, but we're just going to be building ideas, building products, building spaces that are for our community. So that's going to be the big piece for us. And it's something that we thought about before.
Oh, we lost him again. Oh,
we lost. Okay, you're back. Stutter step. We're at the closer too, man. So you're at home. You're bringing it home. All right, one more time. One more again. Like the last 20 seconds.
Good old home run.
Oh, he's frozen on my end.
Yeah, he's still frozen.
He hasn't come back yet.
They got to come up with a term for that. Like, I don't know what that term is. Not just like, it's got to be like a new term. Because
chat froze? Well, you freezing the chat?
Yeah, like I'm just thinking like, because, you know, there's going to be a whole new like era of rappers and artists who are from this era who will like, they'll come up with terminology like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you up here? I don't know. I can't. We may not be cool
enough, man. Let
of a slang yet.
Let the kids come up with it, man.
Yeah. Like there's a 16-year-old that's like, yo, he's got crazy chat slang right now. You know?
He just texted and says out, so he's working on that.
Oh no worries, man. So, but could you bring if you could bring it home for him then if we aren't able to get him back before
he's calling me. I love it. Yo.
Yeah.
There you go. Like tell them that I'm saying.
No, finish it up with Ryan. Go ahead.
Finish up.
Yeah, bro. So I'm just saying, like, where we're gonna go forward is we're gonna continue building spaces for our people. Simply put, I think going into the next part, talking about our team and how important it is for us to kind of build a team that makes sense. We've been getting a lot of like inbound on people who want to like, you know, help us, people who have great ideas, and we're all for it. I think our only criteria, if I use that word, is just that we're trying to find people who are like very interested in kind of what our thesis is. I think what we learned before our first conference is when we brought people on who were very excited, they had ideas, but as Scoop said, like we knew that they weren't necessarily, you know, culturally influenced and they weren't necessarily culturally inspired. You know, people are kind of bringing in their bottom lines, right? They think about like how we can make the most money and what's the best move to do X, Y, and Z. And while, you know, I think Scoot and I definitely keep that in mind. We're also making sure that, again, what success looks like for us is, bringing creatives or bringing people that we know that wouldn't normally have a platform, bringing them to the table, giving creative ways for people to express themselves and connect and whatever the case is. So for us, it's just kind of bringing the team together with people who have those same values, day one. But we're also keeping that channel of communication open. So we already have systems where people can reach out, and if they have ideas, they can pitch us the idea, and we're more than willing. We make time. I think we've heard almost pretty much every idea. I don't think there's been one idea where we've just said no, that's just crazy. And in some cases, what we're doing is we're tagging people together. So I know that, for instance, we have one coming up. I'm not going to say too much about it, but we have something coming up because we've heard a lot about how people are tired of eating chicken Alfredo every day, right? So we've had a lot of questions coming up about what are some cool things that I can do? How can I innovate when I'm cooking or so we've done that a few times. What we did is we connected them together, and now we have people again who are brainstorming together, meeting people who they didn't know a week ago, are now bringing the idea to us, and now we're going to curate an event that was now a product of 5 or 6 trains moving on it, and 4 of those didn't know each other prior to a week ago. So that's kind of how we're using it. We're using the community that we are also building and that we're also leading. So yeah,
and that's the thing. I mean, down to our
you might have to translate that because they may not, the podcast audio audience may not have heard that last part. So could you translate that last part he said?
Yeah, no, I think just, to the point of using the community to continue to build and grow the platform, right? I think it's just bigger than our kind of brainchilds. I mean, even down to when we think about a newsletter, we want to do, community updates, right? Literally everyone, all 5,000 people get an email, but we're highlighting different people about what jobs they just got, what businesses they just launched, what projects are they working on. So super, super excited.
Awesome, man. So as we bring it to a close with the QuarantineCon squad, can you tell the good people how they can get in touch with you all, how they can connect, what the website is, and then what, even if you can't give us the exact dates, what future events they have to look out for if they sign up for the QuarantineCon newsletter and future events?
Totally. So QuarantineCon.co, we're pretty proud of that website, built by the guys over at Plaid Pixel. So we're super proud of that site, and that's the site where you can go watch the playback. So if you're kind of wondering what the hell actually went down and why are we talking about it, you can go watch exactly what happened and hear from the speakers. Our emails are both just Scooter at QuarantineCon.co and Trevon at QuarantineCon.co. And then, like you said, what's on the horizon is a mix of ideas that we think are going to be relevant and timely. So down to his point around cooking and food, mental health. I think there's a big vision around, there's so many creatives right now, and there are people that need creatives, right? Yeah. How many graphic designers are out there, and how many people, need a graphic designer? So, trying to figure out how to match and look, how can you just create jobs, right? I think that's a pretty big goal of ours too. Like we did with the virtual gym. It's cool. We can help get trainers. How can we go help anyone else? Someone setting up a podcast. How do they find Jack in the chat and Jack helps them out now, and what that looks like. So
I think implementing maybe the school thing, having some teachers would be really super dope.
For sure. Yeah. And there's workshops. I mean, I think there's a thing around career readiness, the future of work. There's things around, just if you want to get into grad school and MBAs, there's a lot of kids that are probably sitting at home right now going how the hell do I need to navigate this now in this new world? And so
nobody's in school. Yeah.
And these are topics that sometimes, Trevon and I know about, and sometimes we don't. And so it's we need to find people who have the substance, know what they're talking about, and can really provide tangible gems. And let's do it in the next week.
Bro, I appreciate y'all for coming in and give that good brother Trevon all the props and all the praise for joining us and for y'all putting your energy out for the community and for the culture. I want to just really emphasize that. I mean, that's what we've always been about from the beginning. But when you see people who are actionable and are able to, because of the muscle they built, not just because they're just dope like that. Yes, y'all are dope for sure. But it's that muscle and that networking muscle, but also that actual work muscle is so crucial because it gives you the ability to be change agile at a drop of a dime. And those are the people that are about to get real money in this changing pandemic or social quarantining era that we're in. And we're just trying to provide you resources and access to people who are actually doing it and the place to go commune. And QuarantineCon is that. We want to big you up. I'm going to drop another bomb again.
Thanks, guys. Ashley, it's great to meet you. Jack, always a pleasure. Tristan, good to see you again, man. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you, man. It's gonna be a good episode, and we're gonna, you already know what it is, man. We have more collaborations to come, and I'm proud of y'all brothers, man.
Nah, thank you so much. Let us know anything else we need to do.
Yes, sir, man. We shall get it in. Be easy, man. Be easy till then.
Yes. See you. Nice to meet you.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
So, as we bring this to a close, that was pretty cool. I mean, so this is our very first time doing this. This is like a virtual podcast we're doing. Okay, so there's gonna be a little Bugsy Bowls or whatever. I said Bugsy Bowls.
He's not a
today.
Bugsy Bowls. Like I've remixed it, you guys. Just so you know. I think that's pretty cool. I don't care what face you make it, Jack. It's totally fine. I think it's a pretty cool reference.
I just have the face he makes, like.
Yeah, it's just like stoic. I'm just stoic at all times, man. Y'all can see me in front of the booth.
Is that your impersonation of me, man?
So this last segment, so we can move on from less heavier but really important resource tools. Again, there's a lot. This digipack right here, y'all, like no bullshit, no cap, is super crucial, and it's designed specifically for y'all. So this is going to be open to the public. We'll post it and publish it everywhere, and we'll probably update it. It'll probably potentially just become like, this is the COVID-19 quarantine era document or resource. Share it with a friend. It's got job resources. It's got career resources. It's got COVID-19 resources, learning resources, skill building, all kinds of shit in there. And, of course, stuff linking with QuarantineCon and the events that they're doing. So to take us home, we'll do a little bit of picks. Little picks for the week. I'm going to go last. Y'all go ahead and start. It could be video. It could be a show. It could be a song. It could be an artist. Doesn't matter. We'll link to it in the digipack since we don't have the ability to play it this go around. We won't really worry about that. We'll get it going for next time. Give me your picks. Who's going first? Yep, you gotta have it in the chamber, man. Since nobody has it in the chamber, then okay, fine. So you got it?
Yeah, India Sean and
Wait, say it again.
India Sean and Lumi Trice just dropped the joint.
Okay.
Super crazy joint. It's called PDA. I think it's San Diego. Really crazy joint. Just dropped, I want to say yesterday.
India's the home team squad.
Yeah,
Shout out.
For sure. We'll drop a bomb on that. India Sean, say the name of the title one more time.
It's called PDA San Diego.
San Diego. All right.
I mean, honestly, man, I don't think we played Bosco's first single when it dropped, but she actually has dropped her album since our last episode. So if you haven't had a chance, another home team, Bosco, definitely dive into that album, her first album in like 2 years.
Yeah, 7 tracks deep. Bangers.
Straight bangers.
Yeah.
Pretzel stick, cut, slash down, tree branch.
I haven't had a chance to use that one. I felt like that was all right, what's yours, Tristan?
I don't even know, man. I haven't even been on
videos, movies,
music.
I said it doesn't have to be music. It could be anything, creative, whatever.
What have I watched?
Man, you probably watched.
Tristan may be the only person that's like more unplugged than me, man. Like you unplugged, bro.
Yeah, I've been trying. I'm watching Hunter x Hunter.
Animation, the anime.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's an old school anime. This too.
Old school, yeah.
I mean,
sometimes you gotta go back.
Man, I'm not the judge. It's your recommendation. It's your pick, bro. You pick what you want to pick.
Yeah, I'll pick that.
He just gonna judge it.
Yeah, and I'm still judging.
I saw I watched Invisible Man when they did the release straight to
Is it good?
Streaming. It's cool.
All right. Well, we'll have another episode about streaming where we can talk about because I'm interested to get your take, especially being somebody that's connected or a part of the film industry, the changing of the guard in that space, which is, again, a whole different conversation. We got a streaming episode coming where we talk about the future of streaming and what it takes to get into the streaming game right now, giving y'all resources. We'll have online dating in this quarantine era episode and more stuff, man. We want to get y'all suggestions. Please give them to us on our Digi Good Tribes Facebook group. We may even start things like Discord. We're gonna get on Twitch too. Like it's like they just told y'all, man. Like you got to take advantage of the resources and the tools available now. And we're trying to find ways to connect and provide resources. So we're gonna get it any kind of way we can. My final pick is gonna be pretty like I guess you probably may already guess.
Yeah, we already know.
If you know, this cat already dropped. But I would have done Bosco, but you took it from me. But that's okay.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was actually gonna do Bosco. But of course, that good man, Mr. Steven, aka Mr. Thundercat. Like, oh, you see that? Y'all see that there? Y'all see that there? You see the.
And I'm screen recording it, so we're gonna put it on live.
See the sexual innuendos he's doing there? You know what I mean? Because of my hero,
saying, man.
Thundercat.
Okay.
Like, don't be.
Hey, if you want to be
over here,
that's be on his nuts, bro. That's your thing. Do it, dog.
You out here. You hate big time. You big hating, but that's cool. He got the hater match.
Nah, you know I fuck with Thundercat, man. I am actually jealous that I didn't get to take a photo with him.
That was the perfect time for him to drop one of those soundboard effects.
Yeah, like I don't even let me.
Yo, if I'm gonna have to lace up my soundboard because there's a few.
Okay.
There's a few that are missing. You know what I'm saying?
My soundboard.
That's the one right there.
This is the converted
one.
This is the one that I had to convert to the Mac because the other one's on the iPad. So we definitely get.
Sorry, man. I didn't derail, man. Again, I am jealous of the fact that you got to take a picture with Thundercat, man.
Yeah, man. You should be jealous. That's okay. Yeah, and I've also seen him like at least 12 times. I've seen him perform 12 times. I'm like a legit enthusiast. I'll say that of Thundercat. No, man. Like he's my hero. He's my hero. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't have no shame in it. But new project. It is what it is. It's got a lot of different kind of meanings to it. It's a really, really dope piece of work. I would not say, and I would never try to compare it to his previous project, which is Drunk, which is out of this world, probably in the last decade, one of the best albums of the last decade. And even the Screwed edition, Drank, if you haven't heard that, like, you're just missing out on life. Like, I'm keeping it all the way real. No disrespect, but you are. So go listen to that. And there's a lot of other amazing recommendations and picks that'll be in the Digipack, so y'all can go check that out in our SoundCloud playlist. And yeah, I think that's it, man. I think we've given them a good amount of stuff for this episode. Hope it turns out well. Let us know. Give us your feedback. And we're gonna be coming back. We'll come back next week, man. Cause what else we got to fucking do? You know what I mean? Y'all got anything else before we sign off?
Nah, just appreciate Scooter and those guys for coming through. I think they were super dope, and just to see the innovation during the quarantine, and just to see that people are so like grinding heavy and still making way or finding innovative ways to make money and to connect people. I think it's super awesome, and I can't wait to see what comes completely out of this, like in the end.
Bars. There's, I think, a lot of innovation, especially for creatives, a lot of different like second, third, fourth, fifth hustles now that are going to get maturated and accelerated now because you really have a choice and technologies that weren't going to be popping that are going to pop. It's a whole new ball game, but it's so many. It feels like it's not because a lot of people are losing jobs and furloughs are happening and things like that. But on the other side, there's a lot of opportunity if you know where to go.
And a lot of opportunity to connect with yourself and dive deeper.
I think it was at like an all-time high, but this is gonna like, oh man, this plateau is like crazy. I think that people that were just thinking about only careers and, you know, doing their own thing, as far as like going to school and things like that, I think that everybody's going to start to have some type of side hustle now to see something like this happen that nobody would have ever imagined happening. I think that this is really going to change the world in a crazy way.
Or we just get rid of the whole capitalistic system altogether.
Just demolish
Tristan is like, Tristan is really unplugged right now.
So the Matrix, man.
Super unplugged, y'all.
Focus on being happy and figure out what makes you happy, what makes you tick. And because money isn't real anyway. So it's
I feel you, man.
Cash to earn.
Hey, and I think it's amazing that Tristan kept time because, you know, time is an illusion.
On that note, man, so I appreciate y'all for vibing with us, man, before we take y'all off of the deep end of just ridiculousness, but deepness as well. We'll have many more episodes to come, and we appreciate y'all. Hope y'all are doing well during this quarantine time. Stay indoors if you can. Please, man, we're flattening the curve. Wear the mask if you got to wear the mask, and do everything you can to help your fellow human. That's all we're trying to do. There's some good times. We out here, man.
He doesn't watch his Thundercat.
All right. And we're done.